one, and I don't think it's going to be real close. I think the Eagles are going to win 2 or 3 scores. I'm not a huge...
Welcome to Be Continued. We're your host. I'm Christian.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Riley.
And as last week went, we did our wild card predictions. This week's the divisional round. I'd like to say me and Caleb were both undefeated. Riley, you took some hard losses there, 3-3.
That's fine now.
Oh, you got 3 wrong?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
I think I got the
Chargers?
Vikings,
and Cowboys.
Well, the first place you went wrong is you trusted Justin
Herbert.
Yeah. You should have known better. I'm actually really impressed with myself that I went 6-0 because, I mean, you did all kinds of in-depth study and probably wasted all kinds of hours of your life. I guessed on site, I guessed live.
All my
6-0.
Can I just say, even though I did a lot of in-depth study, it takes 10 minutes. That's all it takes. It's pretty quick.
I don't believe that.
I just use ESPN for this week. So.
All those ridiculous stats you pull out.
All right.
Justin Herbert, when the wind is blowing southeast, coming off of the, water.
Wait. In my defense, you know what I did say? I said when Justin Herbert, when he goes to the East Coast, what's his record when a team scores more than 20 points? 0-4. Now it's 0-5. I pointed it out. Now, let's get to our divisional round predictions. We're going to start off with the Saturday afternoon game. Jags at Chiefs. It's going to be 35 degrees and snowing. So, Riley, you can start this off.
The Chiefs obviously sat last week. Yeah, man. No, that's hard to come back off of a bye week, especially when it's like playoffs time where every team's locked in, and these are like the best of the best teams of the league. So, I mean, the Chiefs, I'm not going to doubt them because obviously they're the best team in the league. But the Chiefs obviously sat, so they're going to come and they're not going to have the fire that they had in the regular season. But if Jacksonville lets Kansas City go up on them, like they let the Chargers go up on them, they're not coming back, and there's no way they're coming back.
So, what's your score?
I got Kansas City winning 34-14.
All right, I can actually. All right, Caleb.
I'm picking Kansas City because Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL, and it's a pretty wide margin. And I'm gonna say they're gonna win. I don't know. Kansas City's defense is not impressive, so I'm gonna and Doug Peterson is a really good head coach.
And this is the second time they're playing.
But I'd say 35-21. I don't think it's going to be super close. I mean, I could see Kansas City falling behind early and then clicking. And what was it that game against the Texans? They were losing 24-0, and then they won by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, when Watson, they won by I think it was 28. They ended up winning that game. It was 56-30.
That wasn't this year, right? That was
2019.
Year. But yeah, I could see something similar to that.
All right, so it's last Saturday. I got to say, me and Caleb both said the Jags would win because we didn't really trust Herbert, and we were kind of nervous after the first half because Trevor Lawrence's favorite target was Asante Samuel Jr. And if T-Law does that again this weekend, something's going around on the podcast table. Just Caleb hasn't coughed. But anyway.
My mask.
I mean, but if we all watched that game, and if T-Law, jeez, that was bad. T-Law, the first 4 possessions, 4 picks. Well, the first 3, and then he had a separation. But the thing that's going to be interesting is, I don't know if you guys saw this. One of the 2 streaks is going to end here. Either Mahomes isn't going to make the conference championship for the first time in his career as a starter, or Trevor Lawrence is going to lose his first game on a Saturday in his life.
It's going to be that one.
He's 37-0 on Saturday in college, high school.
I saw that.
I mean,
that's impressive.
It's impressive. But you know why he's 37-0?
Because he played on stacked teams.
Not only that, he hasn't played Pat Mahomes. And I always say Trevor Lawrence is the prince that it was promised, right? He ain't the king yet.
Yeah, I think I would looking at Patrick Mahomes. I think when he retires, he's going to hold every record.
If he plays long enough. Because if he plays, that's also a longevity award.
Yeah, because, he's just a stud. I saw that he's got, he's getting ready to pass Kurt Warner or something for 10th on the all-time postseason yards list, and he's only 27 years old. And Kurt Warner responded with, I was 28 years old before I even threw my first NFL pass. This is kind of ridiculous how great he's been just from jump.
It's been incredible to watch. So
you don't realize
that's why I'm not picking against him.
When you think about it, you don't realize he's in his 20s.
No, he's the oldest quarterback in the AFC at 27. That's unheard of.
And what I really like about him is that he's super athletic. And you might say sneaky athletic, but I would just say he's super athletic.
He's athletic, yeah.
And he's fast enough that he can run, but he's not so fast that he thinks he's a runner.
Yes.
And I think that's what's key. That's what's going to separate him and Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I think, has a really short shelf life. Josh Allen, I think, is going to get banged up, and he's going to be a shell of himself in 5 years.
Agreed.
I think Mahomes will last.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the other thing is the Jags are 6-1 in their last 7 games versus the AFC. Their one loss coming to at Kansas City. And I think Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence are good enough to adjust. I just don't think they have that extra gear on their team yet because they're going to get Calvin Ridley next year, but I don't think they have that one other weapon that can really defeat the Chiefs, which is why I think this is going to be a great game. Like, I actually think this is going to be our first overtime game, but I have the Chiefs winning 38-35. I just think Mahomes is going to edge it out in the end, and I think T-Law makes a horrible rookie mistake.
The Jaguars actually have some really good skill position
They
players.
do. But you got to remember, versus, like, the other thing that's different is beating Justin Herbert at home is a lot different than going to Kansas City.
Yeah, Evan Ingram has been really good since he got away from Daniel Jones.
Maybe because he's with us coach now. I mean, how's Joe Judge's offense doing?
Sorry, I forgot I've insulted your new man crush.
All right. Anyway, next game. Speaking of Danny Dimes, let's go ahead and get into Giants at Eagles. 40-degree and no wins. I mean, it's in Philly. Riley, I'll let you start off with your super team over there.
This one's a hard one because the Eagles also sat for a week, and I said that it's hard to come back from a bye week no matter what, especially in playoffs, though. But it's in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is a tough city to play in when you're an away team, and especially in the playoffs. But the Giants played amazing against the Vikings, who you can say were frauds, but they still played really good.
31st ranked defense.
So I have the Giants winning 21-17.
What?
Superstar Justin Jefferson no-showed. You have what now?
Giants winning 21-17.
See, this is one of those classic things of he's picking against his team
to give him some.
because if his team loses, then he's like, well, at least I picked it right. And then now, like, if his team wins, it's like, well, at least my team won. So it's like he's kind of the win-win choice there from him.
I'm also sitting here thinking, I'm like, it looks like what the Giants are doing right now, like as of the first playoff game. They look like they're ready for playoffs, and they look like they're ready to upset the second best team in the league.
They're getting hot at the right time. I mean, not only was Daniel Jones terrific, that defense, Justin Jefferson killed him on the first drive. After that, I didn't even know he was on the Vikings.
Yeah.
But also Kirk Cousins in the playoffs. I mean, that was just.
Yeah, they looked. The Giants looked so good early on, especially. But I'm not a huge believer in the Eagles. But the Giants do have like that. Saquon is a stud, absolute stud.
He is. He's a weapon.
The run game travels. But it's not going to travel to Philly.
Yes.
And my pick is I'm going to say the Eagles are going to win this one, and I don't think it's going to be real close. I think the Eagles are going to win 2 or 3 scores. Wow. I'm not a huge believer in the Eagles, so it's kind of contradictory that I'm saying this, but I just think the Eagles are going to win this one. They're going to win it easy, especially like what's Jalen Hurts supposed to be like? Is he supposed to be fully healthy or
no,
like 70%?
He's like 80%.
80%, yeah.
The one thing that I could say is this is the best Eagles team anybody's ever seen, and that's literally because they've broken every single franchise record this season.
Yes.
The Eagles have got skill position players. I love Devontae Smith. I said that year he came out of the draft, I would have drafted him number 1 overall. Who else was in that draft?
You had Jamar Chase. You had Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. And I think the Eagles got the best wide receiver because that dude, he's just a technician. Like he reminds me of Torrey Holt because Torrey Holt, he just didn't drop balls, and he was just like a perfect route runner. Like he just did not make mistakes. But anyway, I think the Eagles are going to win. I think they're going to win maybe like 31-14, something like that.
All right, so let me bring this stat up again because you know what? Caleb, you predicted the Niners game perfectly on this. I meant to acknowledge that. I mean, he was the one that was closest on that game. But when it comes to this game, it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. We've been over this. Second,
That's true.
The Eagles had to win that Week 18 game, and the Giants were playing their second and third stringers, and the Giants almost won. Third, the Eagles have not lost to the Giants at home since October 27th, 2013. That streak's going to end someday, but I don't think it's going to be this Sunday. And the Giants looked great last week, and the Giants are getting healthy at the right time. The Eagles are banged up. Problem is, the Eagles have the thing that can stop Isaiah Hodgins and Darius Slayton. They have 2 good corners.
I was going to ask, what's up with the Eagles' defensive line? Are they healthy?
Josh Sweat's not playing. He's a questionable, actually. He's questionable. But their D-line's good outside of that, though. I mean, they're going to get pressure. The only thing that I'm nervous about, and the reason why I will not be shocked that the Giants win, Hurts did not look good the last time I saw him.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I know I picked a wide spread, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants won the game just because I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. I don't believe in that style of quarterback in big games. But I do think the Eagles an all-around better team.
Not to mention, you also don't believe in Daniel Jones. I don't know what else he has to show you, but first quarterback in NFL history to throw 300 yards and run for 70+.
He's mediocre.
Nothing major.
That's a very obscure stat.
I think either way, it's going to be a tough game, whoever wins, because it's a divisional game.
I think this game's going to come down to the end. I think it's going to be like 17-13. Giants are up, and Jalen Hurts, I don't know what it is. He just has that winning factor. Like, he has an it factor. Like, I always trust Jalen Hurts in the big moments because I know he's going to make that play. I think he's going to lead the Eagles on the drive, and I wouldn't be shocked if the QB draw, right, the gut wins the game, and they win 2017. I think this is going to be the game of the weekend. I think we're going to enjoy the heck out of this. It's going to be one of those classic, a lot of defense, but there's some good offensive sparks. So, next game after that, we have Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen. Bengals at Bills, 35 degrees and snowing.
And almost no offensive line for the Bengals, right?
Agreed, yes.
Pretty much everyone's hurt.
Yep.
Also, I mean, Josh Allen threw a phenomenal 352 yards, which is number one for any quarterback so far in the playoffs. So, I mean, but he's also throwing it against the most beat-up team that was in the playoffs.
They should have
being
lost
the Miami
that game.
Dolphins.
If the Dolphins had Tua, they probably would have won by
They were way too close
good
for the second best team in the AFC to be that close to the Dolphins.
Can we also acknowledge something? Why are people trying to slam McDaniels for being horrible that game? Do you know how incredible it is that he was actually in the game with his third-string quarterback?
Yeah, so when you think about, like, the Rams' third-string quarterback was Bryce Perkins. Like, imagine McVay coaching Bryce Perkins in that game against the Bills. Like,
and not to mention, Skylar Thompson should have had more yards if they could catch.
Yeah, he had a lot of plays that would have been big plays that were just dropped.
The Dolphins would have won, and I'm actually going to bring it up. The Dolphins would have won. Oh, no, I'm thinking a different game. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, you keep going.
Okay, well, I was thinking of a different game anyway. But I have that Burrow and the Bengals certainly struggled against the Ravens until Sam Hubbard showed up.
I told you that was going to happen. I said Burrow had struggled all year.
You did, but I didn't believe you because it's playoff time, and Joe Burrow in playoffs is a little different.
Also, the Ravens have a really good defense. That's all they invest in.
That's true.
Like
But
it's the only thing they spend money on. It's what they spend draft picks on. It's like, no wonder it's good.
yeah, but that game was really close until Sam Hubbard stole that little touchdown and brought it all the way back.
I feel so bad for Ravens fans.
Yeah, but I think what's really going to give the game to the game into the hands of the people who I assume are going to win. I think because Josh Allen has two different receivers in Diggs and Gabe Davis, who were, by the way, one receiving yard apart. I think the Bills are going to win 27-21.
All right. I can see that. Caleb?
I think Bengals win 31-28. They've got the better kicker. They've got the more clutch quarterback. They've got good weapons on the outside. And I know, like, their offensive line is beat up. But the Bills don't have Von Miller. If the Bills had Von Miller, I think I would switch it. But I just don't – I don't believe in the Bills. They're, like, one of the chokingest teams in the history of sports.
Yes.
And they didn't look that good to me against the Dolphins team that was playing with their third-string quarterback. Like, what was that? Was that guy even drafted?
Yeah,
was
seventh round.
Late 7th round. Yeah, well, blocked Purdy too, but I don't believe in the Bills.
I'm gonna have to say I agree. The reason I say that, I don't know if you guys saw this stat, but in total turnovers this season, Josh Allen was number one. Joe Burrow hasn't thrown a pick since Christmas.
Did I see Allen has 30 turnovers on the season? Like when you combine interceptions and
no, he has 22,
fumbles?
but he has 26 if you combine the playoffs.
He's almost at 30.
That might be including. I don't know where they'd get 30 from because he only had 15.
Maybe they just said he's approaching 30.
He's approaching 30. That's probably what they meant. He's approaching.
Either way,
he's at 26 if you include playoffs. I mean, it's been bad, and not to mention they were up 17-0 on the Dolphins. They should have waxed them, and Josh Allen was the reason the Dolphins got back in the game. Not to mention,
Where's the game at? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's in Buffalo.
It is in Buffalo.
It's in Buffalo, but the Bengals are actually lucky because the weather is not going to be bad. It's because it's early. It's going to be 35 snowing, but there's going to be barely any wind.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like the Bengals have a chance. Like if it was normal Buffalo weather, but I'm looking at this, and then you have Skylar Thompson had 288 yards or something around that, and like 2 touchdowns. He should have had like 400 yards if Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle could catch the ball. I mean, that was incredible. I mean, they couldn't catch the ball to save their lives. And then you're telling me, and everyone's like, oh, the Bengals' offensive line's beat up. You don't think this offensive line's at least a little better with the backups than they were at the offensive line that made the Super Bowl last year? And Joe Burrow has shown he doesn't really need an offensive line. If the skill position group can get open in time, he'll win the game. Unless the other team has, I don't know, Aaron Donald and Von Miller, which the Bills did have Von Miller. And as I agree with Caleb, if they had Von Miller, I'd be picking the Bills. But they don't. They don't have anybody that's going to be able to abuse that offensive line, which is why I see this game coming down to the clutch. And I think it's going to be about 20. It's going to be 27-24 late in the game. Josh Allen can get a first down to clinch the game, and he's going to throw a pick. Burrow goes down. Throws one to Chase. Game over, 31-27. Bengals win. All right, our last game of the weekend, probably the game that's going to get the most views of all the any game this weekend of all the year. It's Cowboys at Niners.
This isn't going to be a game. It's going to be a blowout.
All right.
Listen, the Cowboys struggled to stop Brady, but luckily for them, he's the only player on the offense. With I think he was third in passing yards on the last weekend.
But you also got to remember, I mean, I think the Cowboys did great versus Brady. When a guy's throwing the ball 70 times, he's going to get passing yards.
More than anything,
Yeah.
that game just really hammered down that point that Todd Bowles is a great defensive coordinator
But a
and should
horrible
not be
coach.
anything else.
Somebody here said that game was going to be a
Also
blowout.
showed that Byron Leftwich got way too much credit for Bruce Arians' work with Tom Brady.
Agreed. Hey, wait, here's the crazy thing. Brady got Arians out of the building. They could definitely use some Arians.
Also,
if Arians comes back when Brady leaves.
I don't know. I just retired with the Super Bowl. He's going to be in the Buccaneers Ring of Honor. Anyway, Riley, continue with your pick.
I think Christian McCaffrey, he did what CMC does, the second best thing that CMC can do behind getting injured. He ran all over the defense of, I don't even remember, Seattle. He ran all over the defense of Seattle. He had number one rushing yards in last weekend. And I think if he can keep the same tempo that he had last week, I think 49ers are winning 24-14.
All right. All right, Caleb.
Well, they haven't even lost since they got McCaffrey, have they?
They lost
Have
their first game to the Chiefs, but that's because
And
they were
that was-
implementing him.
and
They
since
lost
then
44.
they
They haven't lost since.
Yeah. I don't think the 49ers are going to lose. I don't think this game was even going to be close. Dak Prescott did exactly what I expected him to do last week. I told you that they would come out, they would look really good that first week of the postseason. I told you they would do that. Next week, they're going to look terrible. They're going to get embarrassed by the 49ers. D'Amico Ryans is the dude that should be the hot candidate for head coaching because that defense is the best defense in the NFL. And it pains me to say that as a Ram fan, but
I don't know. Raheem Morris seems like a great defensive coordinator.
he is a really great defensive coordinator. He's a great head coaching candidate. So if any team looking for a head coach is watching this, Raheem Morris should go to the top of the list.
You mean D'Amico Ryans?
No, Raheem Morris. He should go to the top of the list. I'd like to see the Rams hire somebody. No, but D'Amico Ryans is the dude, and that defense is the best defense in the NFL. And I don't think it's particularly close. I mean, those guys, they've got great linebackers. They got. I'm not that impressed with their secondary, but their line is so good, it doesn't matter.
They remind me a lot of the 2017 Eagles, with the great front but decent secondary.
I'm not a huge believer in Brock Purdy. I think he is going to make a mistake that is going to cripple them at some point.
He's bound to make a mistake at some point.
But I think it's going to be in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
All right. Nugget.
I'm saying you can't go from being. I mean, you can, but it's very, very, very unlikely for you to go from Mr. Irrelevant to the starting quarterback of San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs and going undefeated since
But
you
what it
started.
shows you is that Kyle Shanahan's system is like idiot-proof.
That's true.
Like the quarterback there is just a placeholder.
Has there ever been a quarterback that sucked in that system? Like I've thought about. I'm like every quarterback in there.
They put Nick Mullins in there and he's done well. Like it's
like you can't fail.
yeah.
and Jimmy G has like only lost like one game to the Rams in all
Yes.
those years there.
It was only the championship game. However,
it was the one that mattered. But
so which pick?
oh, I'm picking 49ers like 31-14.
So
Something
both
like
of you
that.
only have them
It's-
14. So here's what I'm going to say to this. First thing, Niners have a 2-day preparation difference because they played on Saturday. Cowboys got off on Monday, so that's going to hurt the Cowboys. 2, since the merger in 1970, only 2 rookie quarterbacks have made the championship game, Mark Sanchez and Joe Flacco. It's very rare for it to happen. Thirdly, Brock Purdy in that first half, Brock Purdy's performance Saturday was the basic version of Trevor Lawrence. Played bad in the first half, terrific in the second half. And to your point about Brock Purdy, I will say this. the difference between Brock Purdy and all those other quarterbacks, the other quarterbacks just played the system. Brock Purdy improvises and he makes some plays. I don't know if you guys saw that throw to Ayuk that was dropped, but that was incredible. Here's who Purdy reminds me of. Joe Montana. He does this thing where he goes to the right, and I'm being honest. You watch the film; they look eerily similar.
Just the best quarterback of all time, but
I'm just saying. I'm not saying he is Joe Montana. I'm saying he plays like Montana. He has the play style where he goes outside the pocket, sets his feet, and throws, and that causes him to take a lot of shots that aren't necessary.
The one thing I can say, and we've brought it up on the podcast before, when specifically talking about Russell Wilson. A team is not good with an improvising quarterback.
Scramblers, improvisers actually do help sometimes if they can extend the play when they need to. Purdy doesn't always extend the play. He extends it when it has to be extended. Purdy knows the offense like the back of his hand, and it shows. He studied his butt off this offseason. Credit to him, and he's played amazing. And here's the other thing. In Garoppolo's 6 career playoff games, he had 4 touchdowns. Brock Purdy in his first career playoff game had 4 touchdowns. Brock Purdy threw for the third most yards in Niners playoff history.
okay,
The
well,
most
like
since Jeff
100 of
Garcia.
those came after the catch from Deebo Samuel alone
It's still then how come Jimmy Garoppolo never got 300 yards?
because they ran the ball. They didn't trust him to throw.
They trust Brock Purdy. That should tell you something. Shanahan trusts Brock Purdy.
I don't know, because they kind of bullied Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason, and then
He's never
Kinda had
trusted him
to
in the
eat it.
offseason. And the reason I'll tell you why they don't trust Garoppolo.
Because he always gets hurt.
Not only that, Garoppolo's
glass.
limited. He's very limited. And what this Purdy thing is also showing out of Mr. Irrelevant is people value too much potential. They don't value what's already there. Like Purdy, his potential, he's already reached his full potential pretty much. Like he doesn't have that much to really improve upon because he's already reached it. But that's because he had 40 career college games. College starts matter. Experience helps. And the other thing I'm going to say about this is the Cowboys, I think this is going to be a lot closer than you two think. The Cowboys lost to this team last year. They're going to be motivated. They have a defense that can stop the run if they have to. They won't be able to do it greatly, but I do trust them to at least keep this game close.
This is going to be like, remember that, was it like, when did the Cowboys play the Rams and the Rams just absolutely annihilated them?
2018 after the Cowboys
When
beat the
C.J.
Seahawks.
Anderson
Yep.
just ran straight over them. That's what I think is going to happen.
You're saying that this team beat them in the playoffs last year. You said you don't want them to do it again. They're going to be motivated. But why weren't they motivated to stop being a first-round exit every single playoff in their entire history?
They're the Cowboys.
They're the Cowboys. But the thing is, Dak looked great last year. And I'm not saying he's going to be great this week because I don't think
You don't even have him in your top 10 quarterback.
one game's not going to change how I look at a guy. That's not
Carson Wentz.
He had a good game.
One game changed that entire view.
one good half a season, and you're in love with that dude for 4 years.
All right, we all admit we make mistakes. Mine was just bigger than everybody else's.
It was just like a 4-year-long bad relationship that everybody told you to stop.
It was 6 years. And 6
Wouldn't
bad years.
believe what's in front of
One great year, 6 bad years. It hurt, all right? But I think this game's going to come down to the end, and I can already tell you it's going to end. Dak's going to make a pick 6 that cost the Cowboys the game. 27-21, Niners win.
I feel like you're making that pick just out of your hatred for Dak Prescott.
It's been the only team that didn't get a pick on him in the last.
No, what it is way back in the day when the Eagles used the number 2 pick on Carson Wentz, and the Cowboys used that 4th-round pick on Dak Prescott. And everybody was talking about, oh, Dak Prescott's better than Carson Wentz. This dude is still bitter. He's still bitter. He's still holding that grudge.
I'll take Dak on the Commanders. I'll take Dak on the Commanders. He's better than Wentz, but
Hater.
what?
There's no Sam Howell.
Dak. That is true. Sam Howell. Hey, starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders officially.
He'll play half a season next year, tear his ACL and MCL,
wait,
and
let's
then
just remember this. If he sucks, we're in position to get Caleb Williams. If he does good, we don't need a quarterback. It's a win-win.
I think, like, going back to the Brock Purdy thing for a second, I've always thought that there's probably 100 quarterbacks that could be great.
Yep.
But they just need exactly the right spot. I think Brock Purdy is there. And I think a lot of these, when you see these can't-miss prospects that they come up and they miss, it's because they come up into bad spots. Like, if you had stuck Jamarcus Russell with Andy Reid, like,
Yeah.
he could have been an all-time great. Who knows? I mean, he also might have just kept eating and, been himself. But you get these guys, they get in just the perfect situation, and they're great. And I think I just think, like, the talent gap between, say, the talent gap between a Tom Brady and a Blake Bortles. like just in raw physical tools,
Oh,
I don't think it's that far.
Bortles actually is more fit. If
Yeah,
we're saying
it's
physical
probably
talent,
even
he has
better.
higher
Yeah.
than Brady. The work ethic with Brady is just what.
Sure,
And
that's
he
what makes him
landed in the
special.
perfect
That and always having
Belichick.
Rob Gronkowski.
I think you're right
For
about the
most of his
potential
career.
thing. I think people look at potential and they think that that's a set in stone thing, but potential can always fluctuate.
Ready?
I saw
Here's gonna be a hot take. Will Levis is gonna be the second quarterback taken in this year's draft. It's not gonna be Stroud.
Stroud shouldn't be taken
That's
second.
stupid. No, Stroud's going to be good. And you know what else I saw? I saw a mock draft that had somebody trading up to take Anthony Richardson at number 1.
Don't you dare tell me it was the Rams.
No, it wasn't the Rams. I forget who it was. It might have been the Panthers.
I'm calling it now. I don't think Stroud's going to be good in the NFL.
I don't either. Thank you. Me and
just
you are on the
He's
same.
too short. He's just like.
It's not the short thing.
Nah,
It's
that
the
dude
Ohio
looked-
State.
he looked really
I mean, yeah,
good.
he's Ohio. Yeah, he looks good in college, but once you get to play against the real people who actually play football,
Do you remember how many Georgia's guys were like first-round picks last year? That's going to happen again this year.
I mean, maybe.
Georgia is an NFL-style team.
Well,
It's-
wait a minute.
Doing it against them is like
He's
doing
got
it
an
against Bama.
NFL style offense. You're going to be going against an NFL style defense every week.
No, I'm not worried about C.J. Stroud. I think C.J.
He's
Stroud's
throwing the
good.
people wide open.
He's
Once
got all
Marvin
the tools.
Harrison left the
If
game,
you
he wasn't
stick
even
C.J.
good.
Stroud on the Jets, playoff team.
I don't think so.
Now, if you
I think-
stick him on a team that sucks, like, yeah, he's going to, like, if you stick C.J. Stroud on the Panthers, no. But if you put C.J. Stroud on a team that's already good, Jets, maybe in Seahawks, I don't know who else, a few others, then he's going to be just fine.
I can't wait for both my predictions to be right. Trey Lance is a bust, and C.J. Stroud's a bust.
Well, everybody should have known that Trey Lance was going to be a bust.
O'Reilly?
But Christian didn't. He argued with me
Hold
all the
on.
He's
time.
in love.
He-
He
what-
loves those tools.
Trey Lance has not had the opportunity. No, I don't think he should be a starter. If San Francisco is smart, they never go back. They could get a second-round pick for him right now. Somebody would trade a second-round pick.
Somebody would trade for Trey
Somebody
Lance.
would-
They would trade probably a lot because he's young, so a lot of potential.
I don't know if they'd trade a lot. I would doubt a lot. It'd probably just be like a second or third-round pick.
I don't know.
I'd trade like a fifth. He's shown nothing.
He's better
in the
than
NFL.
Yeah, but there
Stop
are
it.
owners and coaches in the NFL who take chances on some whack people.
Yeah, Carson Wentz got 3 shots.
Yeah, that's true.
Jesus. All right.
40-year-old Matt Ryan got a chance in the Colts.
Okay, well, can we all agree Carson
Matt
Wentz would have done
Ryan's
better
a-
than that?
Matt Ryan's a borderline Hall of Famer.
He is, but he's
otherwise,
just way too old.
numbers-wise. He just-
Wait a
He's
minute.
just way too old.
We got a new comparison for Justin Herbert, though. The modern-day Matt Ryan.
He's a little bit more athletic than Matt Ryan.
He's the modern-day he's the modern-day pocket passer. Pocket passers no longer can't be immobile.
What's a shame is that Brandon Staley is still the head coach of the Chargers.
What
They're firing the
Did
offensive
you see it?
coordinator. They're firing all these people, but Brandon Staley remains
Did you see
in
what he
charge.
said to the ownership? He was like, "Well, the new messages we're gonna stop charging." I'm like, "Wow, Saturday really is a great way to show that you can do that." You only blew a 27-point lead to a rookie quarterback
Yeah, that dude
or
needs
first-year starting
to, dude
playoff
needs to go.
quarterback.
Yeah, they have the second largest comeback in NFL playoff. I thought it was second.
No. First is the Oilers. The Oilers versus
And
Bills.
you're a defensive coach with Khalil Mack
Mm-hmm.
and Nick Bosa.
And then there's one and to that point.
Like every Ram rotational player from the last 5 years is now on the Chargers.
And to that point, there's one thing I want to say to these coaches. And don't get me wrong, I think D'Amico Ryans can be a good coach, but in the modern day NFL, you can't have a defensive coach. And if you're probably wondering why is that, look at the 8 remaining coaches now. How many of them are defensive minded? 1.
I think what it is, if you're going to be a defensive coach,
You have to have a quarterback.
You need an established quarterback that doesn't need somebody
And a
to
good
hold their
offensive
hand.
coordinator.
Yeah, and a good offensive.
need a good offense.
And I think
coordinator.
D'Amico Ryans can do that because he's probably just going to bring the quarterback coach with him from San Francisco.
Well, because if you're a defensive-minded coach, because you came from being a defensive coordinator or whatever, if you're a defensive-minded coach, you don't have the mind on how to run an offense, so you need an offensive coordinator who's good and can help you run that offense.
Oh, wait. I just thought about somebody who does suck in the Kyle Shanahan system. Zach Wilson. The Jets run that offense. He sucks. Anything else you guys want to add on to any of these games?
Nope.
Well, Riley, hopefully you have a week better than 500.
I would love it.
Me and Caleb are hoping to stay undefeated. We feel great about our odds, especially. I don't know. There's no way we go undefeated and you finish above 500. Because I also realized.
I think one of y'all's got to lose this
Now,
week.
I also
One
got
of
to
y'all has
apologize to
lose.
Caleb about one thing. Last week when I heard him say, "How did he get to make a score prediction?" I didn't know what he meant. Then I went back and watched the video. I was like, "Oh, he didn't get to guess the score."
For the Bills game?
Yeah.
He was like, they're going to win by 1,000, so I put 1,000 question mark.
I was like, "Oh, that's what he meant." I just could have said, "Hey, I need to make a score
Who do you think's going to win the Super Bowl
this year."
as of now? No explanation. Just say the name.
Kansas City.
I've been picking Kansas City for a very long time, so
It's
I'm
hard.
going to say something stupid here.
I don't know why. I just want to say Burrow.
Stupid. Yep, told you. All right.
I don't know.
It's Burrow.
We'll leave you with that.
Until next time.
To be continued.